In this video, I'm going to review our final project requirements and give you some tips on preparing for a midterm exam. All right, there are two main things to keep in mind when we are dealing with this final project. And one is to follow the letter of the law. If a requirement is not clear, ask, you can pose your questions down at the bottom of the page in the place for it. There is also no partial credit for any of the requirements, and there's a good reason for it. There are a lot of students in this class. There are going to be a lot of pages, so I use a shortcut in order to grade the projects, and I'll give you an example. So, for example, the the website should be SEO friendly. That means that there should be alt tags for all the images, and indeed, the page won't pass validation if there are no alt tags for your images. But if you have a 10-page website project, I'm not going to check every image on every single page for alt tags. I will, however, check at least a couple of the pages. And if one of the pages doesn't have an alt tag for the image, you will lose 10 points. I'm not going to check for broken links. I'm not going to check for the title tag and descriptions. I'm just going to stop and move on to the next requirement. Now, if you have a website that has 10 pages and only one image on one page is missing the alt tag, you will still lose 10 points even if all 9 other pages are perfect. Conversely, if you have 9 pages and none of them have alt tag, none of the images have alt tag applied, but one page does, and that is the page that I check, then you'll benefit. So it won't be fair to compare your grade on a particular topic to another student's page. Um, Bottom line, make sure all of your images on every page has alt tags as an example. Um, but I'm certainly not going to check for each one. I guess I could write a script to run through a website and check for that, but I don't have that script written yet. So this is going to be a manual process for me. So let's look at everything else. So again, there's no partial credit. The project is worth 100 points. Um, I often get asked, will there be extra credit? No, there won't be on this. Uh, Typically, students do fairly well on the final project. But again, just make sure you meet the requirements. If you do that, you'll fare well. All right. The other thing is, do not use the Bluefish or the architect template that we described in class. All right. You can use any other template that you want or create your own. 10 points. Make sure that the menu is used consistently throughout the website. Um, every single page must have a menu on it. It should be clear I'm on the same website, so you shouldn't have a menu that looks entirely different on different pages of your website. Now, some students may decide to use a slightly different color scheme on different pages of their websites, but it should be absolutely clear I'm on the same website. There shouldn't be abrupt differences. All right. And again, as always, link the way I'm describing. So your menu should have a link to your homepage. If you decide to have an icon at the top of your page, the way the class's website does, and you make that element clickable, if we click here, we'll go to the homepage of the website. If you do that, that's fine. But you should have these as menu items on your page as well. So you're going to have a link to your website should have 3 content pages. And I should actually probably talk more about the nature of the website. The website should address some theme. You can make your website about puppies. So you can have a page, a home page that describes the website, and you'll need to have at least 3 content pages. So you can have lab puppies, you can have pit bull puppy page, um, you know, whatever makes sense. Um, in the ideal world, you pick a subject that you're interested in. All right. So your website should have 3 content pages and your menu. Whenever you link to a page on your domain, your website, it should open in the same tab. Um, your home page should be the default page for the domain. That should make sense. So if I browse to your domain, I should hit your website's homepage. You should have a link to the next student, the student that follows you, and it should open in a new tab. And you should have a link to your assignments page, which I described further down in the instructions. You must use a cascading style sheet. I'm going to select a couple of your pages and I'm going to check. So if you have any inline styles, if you have an embedded style, you will just lose 15 points. So every single page should use a cascading style sheet, and your cascading style sheet should pass validation. If you click this link here, it will take you to a page that shows the W3 School validator, and you should get no errors. And of course, on your assignment, this will open up in a new tab. All right, you should have CSS or style statements that are designed for printed output. So for example, I will check, and we haven't talked about this in class yet, but if I right click and I send this to the printer, if you look at the print preview, the menu, for example, is missing. We'll discuss in class how to remove elements for printed output, but it's done with targeted media queries. So where you can hide blocks. So for example, I hide my block tag with the media query in my CSS file. So you can see that. I think this is just a useful thing to do on the website to optimize your page for printing. Oh, all right. So number 4, your output should be designed optimized for mobile. In previous projects, I used to use Google's mobile test. Basically, what I'll do is I'll look at the website on a handheld, and if it looks good there, and I can tap the menu items and navigate the site, and I don't have to pinch and scroll, that will be fine. Next, Favicon. You should have a Favicon up at the top of your image, and we've already talked about that. Your website should not have any broken links, should use the correct doc type, title, and description tags, all tags and images as discussed. Your site should have a site map. We'll talk about that, and at least one heading tag on every page. Again, if I see one of these things missing, you will just lose 10 points. All right. You will have custom audio or video on your page. One can easily upload videos to YouTube or grab embed code from YouTube, but we're not doing that. We're going to use the video or audio tag to serve video or audio from our web server. I don't care what the video is about, but again, if you have a website about puppies, it'd be interesting. It'd be neat to have a puppy video on your website. Now, the assignments page is going to be a page with links to your assignments, your About Me page, your chessboard page, and your website evaluation homework, which is coming up. Those websites should be modified, those pages should be modified to reflect the look and feel of your website. So when I click your homework number 2 or your link to your About Me page, it should now have the menu that is on your project's website. So the purpose of this assignment is just to make sure you can migrate all this stuff to your new design. And each of these are worth 5 points. And the grading will be a function of are these pages still responsive? And if they're not responsive, you'll lose 5 points. Okay, visual appeal of the site, 0 to 10 points, purely up to me, purely subjective. I doubt anyone will get 0. Not too many people will get 10. You all will get a score in somewhere in between. All right, so if you just throw something together and you have it's not inspired in the least bit, you won't score high on this. But if you show a great deal of creativity and you have a nice visually appealing website, you'll score 10. and I have no trouble giving 10 to everyone on this. Custom 404 error page. So I will check your website by typing a bogus URL, and when I hit enter, I expect to see it should be a page that reflects that the page is not on the site. Your menu and everything else should be on the page as well. So it should, it shouldn't. I don't want to see the default error page. All pages should pass validation. Again, I'm not going to check every page for passing validation, but I will certainly check one or two. And if any of them fail, 5 points. Finally, database access. In our lecture describing how to create a page with database access, you will be doing that, and you're going to make the design of that page match the design of your website overall. So you'll need to create a file, a database, and basically do everything that we did in that lecture, and that'll be part of your project. And again, if your site is about puppies, maybe it's a page to register the type of puppy that you have. That's the assignment. And if you have any questions, pop them down here. And good luck. Okay, for the exam, if you did all of the reading that was required on the W3 schools and you took the exams and were able to answer each question, you should do well for a portion of the exam. In addition to that, if you had no trouble completing the homework assignments and you took notes during the times we met on campus and notes from the videos, you really shouldn't have any trouble with the exam. The questions will be straightforward. There may be some that require a little bit of thought, but it's designed just to test your knowledge of HTML and CSS. I'm not going to ask you about obscure CSS tags or CSS style statements or HTML tags. The goal is to just test your knowledge of the stuff, of the material we covered in class. The exam is designed to be a closed book. Of course, I'm not going to be able to monitor you while you take the exam, but the test will be timed, and the time will be such that you will have enough time to answer the question, but hopefully not enough time to research every single question. You will also, the exam will take place during the time when your class meets. If you're registered for the 410 section, your exam will run from 410, perhaps no later than 5. If you're in the 730 section, the exam time will run from 7:30 until roughly 8:20 approximately. And after that, that will be the end of the exam. The grades will be updated immediately. And if there's any questions about any of the questions on the exam, you can put them on our discussion forum, and I'll answer the questions here. You can post them here in the question section of the website. That's it for today.